getting so much interest. We're in about 30 to 35 trials as we speak. And every day we get new data back from those trials showing the success of the product.
Welcome to EnviroTalk, our program here for the environmental community. My name is Travis Bowman with the Environmental Workshops. We've been training environmental professionals all over the globe for about 7-8 years now. We've seen 20,000 environmental professionals register at one of our workshops. We've done over 400 workshops on 6 continents, 20 different countries. And so really the EnviroTalk program is really just giving a voice to our speakers. We have speakers that speak around the globe, like I said, in a whole bunch of different countries. And their companies are, representing a number of different technologies to clean up pollution, whether it's soil contamination or groundwater contamination, air pollution. But the coronavirus is affecting everybody. And so really that's what our talk today here on EnviroTalk is, just giving our speakers a voice and allowing them to communicate a little bit further. So check our website out. It's EnviroWorkshops.com. You can see more about our speakers and their companies. But also I want to mention that we are hosting a global summit in Charlotte, North Carolina, September 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And so we'll have speakers from around the globe really talking about the accelerating trends that they're seeing in their side of the world. So we'll have speakers from Europe and Australia and Asia. And so really some of the things, some of the contaminations that they're dealing with and some of the technologies that they're using to try and help clean those up. So, so that's a little bit more about us. But I figured I'd just set this stage here a little bit in regards to pollution, in case you're not in the environmental industry. Pollution, we're talking about a pandemic right now in the world. Pollution is somewhat of a pandemic. I mean, we were growing up and we made a mess as a child. Our parents said, hey, clean that mess up. Well, really for the last 150 years of the Industrial Revolution, we've been making a mess. And so you'll learn from our speakers and our sponsors that we're really about trying to clean up the pollution, whether it's soil, groundwater, or air, and really make the planet and our Earth just a better place for our children, our grandchildren to live in the future. So that's really what we're doing. And today's guest is a guy I've known for quite some time in the industry. Matt Geary is here with us from a company called CETCO, and CETCO is a global firm. Welcome to EnviroTalk, Matt.
Thanks, Travis. Thanks for having me. This is, I think, a very good idea, especially considering all that's going on.
Right? I know, exactly. Well, tell us a little bit about CETCO. Tell us, I mean, obviously you're all a global, large, massive firm, but tell us a little bit about what you do in the environmental industry and some of the technologies that you've been working with.
Well, you're right. CETCO is a firm that's just under $2 billion in revenue, and it's very diverse. We are a manufacturer of products, and those products are manufactured for a whole host of different marketplaces. There's health and beauty, there's agriculture, automotive, pulp and paper. But my specific division is the Environmental Products division, and we manufacture products that are either final solutions or parts of solutions to remediation projects all over the world.
Gotcha. Yeah, and remediation, for those who might not know, it's really contaminated soil and groundwater.
Sure.
And some of your technologies I know are deployed in whether it's a creek or a lagoon, or talk a little bit about some of that.
Yeah. So the products that fall under my specific purview within Environmental Products include Liquid Boot, which is a gas vapor barrier. So that is a spray applied asphaltic emulsion that is applied to under slabs in new buildings that are being constructed, generally when they're being constructed on brownfields or, in other words, contaminated properties or semi-contaminated properties. And we also have a whole host of products around organoclay. And so I should have mentioned that CETCO's parent company, Minerals Technology, Inc., is a minerals mining company. And we mine Wyoming bentonite, which has specific properties that are valued and specified, again, all over the world. Well, we can take that bentonite and turn it into a product called organoclay. And that's when we chemically alter the bentonite and sort of change the properties of what you normally think of in a bentonite clay. Specifically, what happens is it no longer swells when it gets wet, when it hydrates. So it does not swell and become impermeable once we've made it into organoclay. It allows water to pass through, and our proprietary treat mechanism grabs contaminants. So to get specific, organoclay is being used as we speak to cap contaminated waterways, either in bulk format. So if you're going to clean up a waterway, oftentimes you dredge out the sediments that are contaminated, but more times than not, there is residual mass of the contaminant left behind because it's just almost impossible to get it off. So engineers will specify an active cap in that situation. In other words, a cap that will be protective for that residual mass fluxing out over time. So all over the world, CETCO's organoclay is being used to cap streams, lakes, rivers in either bulk format, so the raw bulk material, or in something called a reactive core mat. And a reactive core mat is two needle punch geotextile fabrics holding in place, pardon me, the active media. It can be organoclay, it can be carbon, it can be apatite, and it's a very, very efficient way to deploy an active cap. And lastly, what is taking up a significant amount of our time currently is a new product called, relatively new product called Fluorosorb. And this is an adsorbent media for treatment of PFOS. And I think probably most of the people listening have heard of PFOS and what's going on
right
to that emerging contaminant. And that's really getting so much interest. We're in about 30 to 35 trials as we speak. And every day we get new data back from those trials showing the success of the product.
Yeah, PFOS is the buzzword. There's no doubt.
What's
the Netflix show that everybody talks about in regards to PFOS?
Well, Netflix had The Devil We Know.
The Devil We Know. That's right. I had a brain fart. Clearly, I need more coffee. That's the problem, Matt. I need
For
more
sure.
coffee.
For sure.
Yeah, The Devil We Know. Yeah, that's definitely been a huge, huge hit on Netflix. But
yeah,
PFOS, granted, we're still learning. I mean, we still don't know what we don't know. It's almost like the coronavirus, right? To some degree. But I mean, we know more certainly. I know there's a number of different technologies that are coming out to that can mitigate it without a doubt. So, I mean, you guys have a phenomenal technology in regards to PFOS.
Yeah. So there's lots of people are working on lots of different solutions, and oftentimes it will come to. It certainly is going to focus on efficacy, right? So people are trying to say 10 different things. 5 of them will be efficient at, let's say 5 of them turn out to be efficient at treating the PFOS. Then it's going to come down to cost.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the world we're working in at this point in time. We believe what we're going to have, and well, we know what we have is a very cost-effective solution. And for instance, this PFOS is an emerging contaminant.
Mm-hmm.
So oftentimes when an emerging contaminant gets recognized as needing remediation, you run out and use whatever has been used for the past 100 years, because what else are you going to do? You have to start with something. So carbon was the go-to initially for the treatment of PFOS, and it works to some degree. But what we're showing in all of our head-to-head tests is that the Fluorosorb product is 3 to 4 times more absorbent than carbon. So if you think about that, regardless of what the per pound price will be, you have that 3 to 4 times advantage in efficiency, therefore advantage in overall cost.
Right.
So, but it's still a long road, right? As I said, we're in 30 or 35 trials, and those trials don't take a week. They take and sometimes years.
Yeah.
But we're fully confident that it's going to be a significant piece of the puzzle in various engineer solutions to these PFOS issues. And specifically, We've had a lot of success with field trials for doing what's called in situ stabilization and solidification of PFOS.
Mhm.
So that's a situation where you go in and you mix in Fluorosorb and cement in certain ratios, and now you've stopped the contamination from moving and getting into sensitive receptors like groundwater, drinking water, et cetera.
Yeah.
Really, that's where getting a lot of interest and a lot of buzz, and it's taking a lot of time.
So we touched a little bit on The Devil We Know from Netflix, but of course, there right now in the news, there's The Devil We Don't Know called the
Yeah.
coronavirus.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's wreaking havoc on the whole world. I mean, it's, you know, when they say it's a pandemic, a global pandemic, it's truly wreaking havoc. But for you guys at CETCO and these projects that you all are working on, have you changed any of your standard operating procedures or anything like that? Just let's talk about that a little bit in regards to projects that are ongoing that you guys are doing.
Yeah, so we're a manufacturer, right? And just yesterday, there was a podcast much like this from the CEO of our corporation, and he went into great detail about the changes that have been made in our plants, where we manufacture the plants. Things like distancing workers on the line who are making the products, people that can work from home are mandated to work from home, and all of the things, you know, that you've heard about all through the news. The company's making incredible efforts to social distance while remaining open and operating. And we can remain open and operating because the products that we made in all the states that we have plants have been deemed to be essential.
Gotcha.
You know, without the products that we make, you know, there could be significant issues with infrastructure, and you know, we don't need another headache like that at this.
No.
So you know, I'm sure at the plant level and everywhere, there's an emotional toll on, you know, if you're human, there's the
Definitely
issues. But from a business perspective, we're working, you know, as much as possible as normal, and we're manufacturing products. And one of the things that I guess I feel sort of fortunate about is I've always worked from home because, you know, as you know, I have a very large territory. There's no need to be at some central office.
Yeah.
So that hasn't changed much. And another aspect is, as I mentioned, with these PFOS projects, that's not something that takes a week or you know, or even a month. And so what seems to be happening is, it's for a lot of my work, it's business as usual, because we're waiting on test results, which can still, you know, move forward.
Right.
And I'm really hoping that, you know, say 3-4 months from now, all these tests that are coming in may result in field work, and hopefully we're all just back to normal from that.
Back to normal. That's right. Yeah. And even in the field work, I mean, it's a project out in the middle of, I mean, it's not like you're in downtown Manhattan where the epicenter of the coronavirus is. I mean, am I right about that? You all are still able to get projects done in the midst of.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because we're a manufacturer. We don't install ourselves. We don't do the field work.
Right.
So we're still getting requests from engineers and contractors who are doing work, and we're supplying those requests.
Good.
It's anybody's guess as to whether that continues. And I think it's going to go project by project. For instance, if you're on a site that the contamination is what's called an IDLH, an immediate danger to life and health.
Yeah.
Local authorities are probably going to say you have to keep moving with that. And if they're using CETCO products, my company will supply it. A project that isn't that immediately dangerous hasn't happened yet, but I'm sure some of them are going to get shut down.
That would make sense. Or they'll just delay it, postpone it, or something like that, because it's
Right.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Have you seen any state or government regulations or anything that's changed in light of the coronavirus that makes it a little bit more difficult to get a project done? Have you seen anything like that?
No, nothing that you could tie directly, no regulatory issue that would tie directly to any of the contaminants. All I could say is the only thing that may be changing, and it hasn't affected my work yet, is regulators don't have the time to pay attention to anything else.
Right.
And so if someone was going to be weighing in on a remediation plan, a regulator, let's say. Again, I haven't seen it, but I would imagine that they're like not getting to it right away.
Right. Yeah. No, that's true. I was talking to one of our other speakers just yesterday, and he was saying that in California, everything is about a permit, right? And so whether it's you're drilling, you're trying to getting a permit right now is like pulling teeth.
I'm sure.
And so he said the impact to their industry in the environmental industry in California has been extreme, because just getting a simple permit to start to accomplish their project, it's like, they're losing their marbles. So,
yep. And I have several projects or potential projects that, if you look in my contact management system, the note is awaiting permit. I didn't think, regardless of the coronavirus, none of them, I wasn't anticipating the permit coming in on any of them, but I'll be checking on it real close.
Yeah. Well, it's some crazy times we live in, Matt, isn't it? I'll tell you what, it
sure is. Like I said, I feel incredibly fortunate to be in the position I'm in, and I feel for those who are, frontline workers and people losing their jobs, that are immediately impacted economically. So
yeah,
I think we're fortunate to be in the position that we're in, and, I think everyone's just got to help everybody else to the degree that they can.
That's exactly right. Well, Matt, thanks for coming on the program, and I really appreciate it. Appreciate what you do and for the environmental industry. And so we will talk again soon. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Be safe out there.
All right, man. Thanks. Yep. You too.
Take care.
Yep. Bye.